Every night, when the office lights dimmed and the city outside flickered with neon, George stayed behind, sweeping floors, emptying bins, and humming softly to himself. No one really noticed him. To most employees, he was just a janitor. But to George, every polished floor and clean desk was a small act of pride. One late evening, the CEO, Emma Reynolds, returned to the office to grab her forgotten phone. She froze when she saw George counting cash in the dim light, then carefully placing half of it into an old envelope labeled Hope House Orphanage. Curious, she watched quietly. He sealed the envelope, smiled faintly, and whispered, "For the kids, they need it more than I do." Emma was stunned. She knew George earned barely enough to survive himself. Why would a man with so little give away so much? The next morning, she couldn't stop thinking about it. At lunch, she casually asked HR about George's record. "Been here 15 years, they said. Never asked for a raise, never late. Lives alone. Kindest man you'll ever meet." That night, Emma sat in her office, staring at the city lights. She had built an empire worth millions, but somehow, the janitor downstairs seemed richer in spirit than anyone she'd ever met. And what she decided to do next would change both their lives forever. The next morning, Emma couldn't focus on anything, not the quarterly reports, not the meetings, not even the $1 million deal waiting for her approval. All she could think about was that old envelope marked Hope House Orphanage. That evening, after everyone left, she asked her driver to take her there. The building was old, walls cracked, paint peeling, but the laughter inside was pure. Children ran barefoot, chasing each other with paper planes. A kind woman greeted her. "You must be here about the donations. Mr. George has been helping us for years." Emma blinked. "He's been doing this for years?" "Oh yes," the woman smiled. "Every month, without fail. He even comes on weekends to fix the lights, clean the rooms, and bring snacks. The children call him Uncle George. They adore him." Emma's chest tightened. She had spent fortunes on luxury, yet this man, who mopped her office floors, was quietly changing lives with the little he had. As she left, a small girl tugged at her sleeve. "Miss, are you a friend of Uncle George?" Emma nodded, fighting tears. "Tell him we love him," the girl said, handing her a handmade card with crayon drawings of hearts and stick figures. Emma held it close, her throat heavy with emotion. When she got back to her car, she whispered to herself, "I thought I knew success, but I've just met it for the first time." That night, she made a plan, one that would soon shock the entire company. The following Monday began like any other. Employees rushed through the glass doors, coffee cups in hand, unaware that today would become unforgettable. When George arrived, he found a note on the janitor's cart. "Please report to the 30th floor. CEO office." He thought he'd done something wrong. Nervous, he wiped his hands on his uniform and took the elevator up, something he'd never done in 15 years. When the doors opened, he froze. Every employee, from interns to executives, stood gathered, whispering. A large banner hung across the wall. "Thank you, George." Emma stepped forward with a warm smile. "George," she began, her voice trembling slightly, "I recently discovered something about you. You've been donating half your paycheck to orphans for years, quietly, selflessly, and without asking for recognition." The crowd fell silent. George's eyes widened. "Ma'am, I didn't mean for anyone to know. They just needed help." Emma placed a hand over her heart. "You've reminded us what true success looks like, not in numbers, but in kindness." Then she turned to the audience. "From this day forward, the company will match George's donations, every single month. And we're also opening a new children's learning center, named in his honor, the George Hope Foundation." Applause erupted. George stood frozen, tears welling up behind his glasses. "I was just trying to do my part," he whispered. Emma smiled softly. "And you did more than any of us ever have." For the first time in company history, everyone paused, not for profit, but for purpose. Weeks passed, and George's story spread far beyond the company walls. News channels covered it, newspapers wrote about it, and people from all over the country sent letters, not to Emma, not to the company, but to George. They called him the janitor with a golden heart. But George remained the same. He still came early, cleaned quietly, and greeted everyone with his humble smile. The only difference was that now, everyone greeted him back, with respect. One afternoon, Emma invited him to visit the new George Hope Foundation. The orphanage had fresh paint, new books, a playground, and a bright sign that read, "Built on kindness, inspired by George." The children ran up to him, hugging his legs. One boy handed him a framed picture, a crayon drawing of George surrounded by smiling kids under a rainbow. George's eyes glistened. "I don't deserve all this," he said softly. Emma smiled. "You deserve more than this, George. You reminded us that no job is small, and no act of kindness ever goes unnoticed." He looked around, at the laughter, the colors, the hope, and said, "All I ever wanted was for them to have what I never did, a chance." Emma nodded. "And because of you they will." As the sun dipped behind the orphanage, its golden light touched the words, "Hope Foundation." For once, George didn't see himself as just a janitor. He saw himself as part of something bigger, proof that even the smallest hearts can change the biggest worlds. And somewhere deep inside, he whispered a prayer of gratitude, for the chance to give, to love, and to matter.